Here lies Michael KAISER, once known as Blue Lock's most lethal striker, and yet now is just a pitiful fraud. May isagi yoichi end his suffering with a swift hat trick. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Animasu, and today we're going to be taking a look at Blue Lock Chapter 259 leaks, titled Challenge the Impossible. If you want to stay up to date with Blue Lock or just enjoy my content, please feel free to support me by clicking that subscribe button, commenting below your thoughts, and also just check out my community Discord and Patreon down in the description. Without further ado, if you're a fangirl of KAISER like myself, I suggest looking away or at least mentally preparing yourself. As always, we start off the chapter with an intro text which states, "The Abyss of Despair. What does the Emperor, Michael KAISER, think in this dire situation?" The entire first page is literally just Michael KAISER digging his fingers into his shoulder with a super worried expression. Walking in the opposite direction of his rival and friends, KAISER is just anxiously thinking about the state of Bastion Munich. He knows that with Isagi now awakened, his value will eventually soar after he fully masters that broken two-gun shot. Even worse, the team will be fully taken over by Isagi if things keep going his way, leaving KAISER buried within the rubble of his own challenge. Putting him out of his own mind, Alexis Ness then squeaks out from behind KAISER, pointing out that no other players remain from KAISER's system. Nobody other than Ness can help him now. Taking a deep breath, however, KAISER just tells Ness to shut his mouth and prepare himself. The one reason he even came to the NEL was to plunge Isagi into despair, so with no other choice, KAISER says that he must perfect the impossible weapon to do so. Going forward into the next page, he even says that he must do so or else Isagi will take everything from him. Considering this is the last match of the NEL, and he and Isagi are tied in goals, there's no other opportunity for KAISER to show his superiority. With the match then restarting, itoshi kicks back off for PXG, sending a short pass right over to Nanase. Kyoryugen then charges in from Nanase's right to try and stop this, but ultimately Nanase is able to win this duel and make a curve pass right back to itoshi. It's kinda crazy how Kyoryugen cooked Nagi in the spinoff, but has won a total of 0 duels so far in the PXG match. Like, hurry up breakdance boy, show us some moves. Anyways, as Rin is approaching both Ryuchi Jingo and Yohiori, the egoist looks to his left for a helping hand. While Tokimitsu is pointing at his front on the run, PXG's Hard Charles has his arms up and is completely zoned out of this match. Whining like the literal child he is, Charles is just begging Loki to take him off of the field. Kunigami, Shidou, and even Rin are staring along in disbelief, as Charles goes on to explain that he's just now bored in this match. With his passes being prevented due to Shidou's lockdown, he just doesn't find this game fun enough anymore and he wants to be subbed off. Loki of course is hearing this all from the bench with sheer frustration and embarrassment, because PXG's literal core has a bad habit of inconsistent motivation and is trying to quit mid-championship match. Due to his lack of some goddamn help, itoshi is then shown to be double pressed by both Hiyori and Ryuchi here. They're even making fun of the Charles outburst by telling Rin has been betrayed, which just makes the instance all the more hilarious. Karasu is left watching along in horror though, because with Rin actually losing the ball from this press, in comes Shark Boy Corona, sprinting in swiftly to grab the ball just before Zantetsu could. Switching up immediately to the offensive while scanning the field, Corona seems to be solely aiming to help his buddy Isagi Yoichi score a second goal this game. Corona goes on to make his first pass attempt of this game, however Michael KAISER comes flying into the air, snatching up the pass for himself. In an ironic twist of fate, Isagi and KAISER seem to have switched places from the Barcho match to now. Because while Isagi had an entire team to back him up now, KAISER's been forced into a position where he has to pick interceptions to even get the ball. Anyways, as the next page briefly shows KAISER tapping into his flow state while monologuing about some Magnus effect, we're then thrown into a flashback from 10 days ago. KAISER and Ness seem to be talking about this Magnus technique out on a Germany training field. In full homo here, I have to admit, Ness and KAISER look hot as fuck in the Blue Lock training outfits. Anyways, KAISER firstly states that a kickball is normally influenced by just the movements of flow and air, temporarily becoming Isagi Yoichi in order to yap with the most efficiency. KAISER is then shown multiple diagrams as he explains the mechanisms of a kicked ball and air movement. The reason a spinning ball rises and curves to either the left or right is due to differences in air resistance both horizontally and vertically. The lift is then generated, and with the pressure on the desired side increasing, the ball then begins to move. Finally, the Magnus effect occurs, causing the ball to rise or curve, and even after all of this, I still have no clue what bro is going on about. It'll make more sense when I can actually show you all the diagrams tomorrow, but for now, we can just do what Ness does. Act as if we actually followed along. KAISER then goes on to set the ball down at his front, while explaining that his typical KAISER impact is focused on speed and power, also having no spin and traveling in a straight line. This new technique, however, seems to be an experiment in order to create a KAISER impact, except with spin behind it. Looking down with a pinpoint on a certain section of the ball, KAISER explains that he must improve the precision of where he kicks the ball to perfect this technique. He then goes on to further explain the timing behind this shot. However, the precision combined with this just seems to be too damn hard for KAISER at the moment. Cutting out the flashback and back into the game, KAISER makes a pass over to Alexis Ness, while clarifying that he hasn't even successfully used this technique once. They're both confident, however, that today is the day it will succeed, so Ness puts his all into cooking past both Nanase and itoshi Rin. He then passes right on through back to Michael KAISER, who is holding back Kurisu and Tokimitsu with the ball at his feet. Due to him holding back 2 on his side and having 3 defenders at his front, KAISER obviously finds his stance to be insufficient for him, but apparently the conditions here are just right. As everyone is staring with a worried look at his feet, KAISER lines up his shooting point for the top left of the goal, and lets his new shot rip off, called KAISER Impact Magnus Variation. Apparently all he was looking for condition-wise was a ball and movement, as this was the only part that mattered. Fully immersed into his flow state while using predator eyes and sweating, KAISER has truly given his all to pull off this Magnus Impact. With everyone looking up at this shot though, Ryusei and Nanase seem to be wondering where the hell KAISER is shooting for. The Emperor himself, however, is just holding his breath while praying for the ball to curve. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, he sent that ball to the fucking moon. I mean, this shot had to be off by about 10 to 15 miles, leaving even Ness with no words to glaze him. Isagi though is just monologuing in his head about how down bad KAISER seems right now, as this so-called Emperor is literally crashing to the floor after such a heinous whiff. The final page of the leaks literally just show KAISER screaming his lungs out, as he truly seems to be reaching a breaking point like never before. To rub salt into the wound, Isagi seems to be making note of all this within his head, making the realization that KAISER is truly breaking down now. The outro text to finish out the leak says, "The roar of passion echoes through the battlefield. The thirst for victory remains unquenched." This does give me some hope for KAISER and Ness, as it states his yell to be a roar of passion, and also clarifies that he does thirst for victory. Now if he cares more about Ness, Isagi, or a flawless NEL run, we've yet to find out, but I highly doubt we're not going to see an awakened Ness or KAISER. Not only did we get this entire chapter just to show off a flashback and failure, Alexis Ness had some interesting words last match about Yoichi's magic. Will Kiora team up with KAISER or Kunigami, or will Alexis Ness end up assisting Isagi to finish out his hat trick? Let me know what you all think of this whole situation down below, as every outcome this match seems to be just up in the air. Sadly, we have no sneak peek title for chapter 260, as next week seems to be a break week for the manga. Make sure to drop your theories down below for what you're thinking awaits KAISER and Ness, or just anything regarding these upcoming chapters. With that being the end of today's leak overview, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoy the content I push out and would like to support me, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and even join my Patreon or community Discord down in the description. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you lovely people tomorrow in my official chapter 259 overview. It's a lot easier to see what the hell KAISER is yapping about when you have the diagrams to go along with it. I know it's obvious, but you'll see tomorrow.